them to be. God wants us to walk in him. He opens the door every day. He opens the door for us to be able to see what he has for us. Not everybody can see God because they don't know, look. A relationship with God is the most important thing in the world, and Noah had a relationship with God. Not everybody, apparently nobody else did. We don't know if his family did really, because God told us if we have one righteous person in the family, he'll carry the family. As far as we know, he was the only righteous person, and because of him, his family was saved. We don't even really know. The Bible tells us not to marry out of season and out of our faith. But he says if you are a Christian and you marry out of somebody that's not a Christian, that you will carry that person as long as you're alive in righteousness. My mother married my father. My father was not a righteous person. It's truly sad. You don't realize what it is when you don't go to church because somebody doesn't want you to. I only went to church like 2-3 times a year when I was a child. When we went to my grandparents' house, because we went to my grandmother's house, she says, you come to my house, you spend the night Saturday night, you're going to church Sunday morning. And we went to church on Sunday morning. We went to go visit 2-3 times a year because it was like 100 miles away from where we lived. And my dad, I saw him, I remember him going once or twice and standing outside and smoking cigarettes and laughing about church. And my dad was a good man. He'd give you the last slice of bread out of the house and give you last half a cup of coffee. He'd share the last half a cup of coffee with you. He was a coffee drinker, but he wouldn't have God in his life though. He started having health problems when he was about 35 years old. And he just couldn't grasp God. After my mother passed away, I was talking to him about him one day, and I said, you got to get yourself with the Lord. He says, I have no purpose for your God and your Jesus. He said, because of them two, he said, I've lost everything I have. They took your mother, and they took everything I've got, and they took my health. And I'm going, oh, you're wrong. They didn't take any of that. And I said, you have got to understand that God is not that person. He said, if you had allowed God to be God in your life, if you had opened yourself up and just listened and received what God had for you, you would have made a great Job story, but you wouldn't do it. See, my dad, he didn't, I never heard him actually curse God, but he had no purpose for God. For Job did not curse God. Job always went back to God and thanked God. My dad was never that person. We don't know what people go through in this life. There are a lot of people out there that I approach and I talk to, and sometimes they'll say, I don't want to hear about God. And I said, well, that's fine. That's fine. We don't have to have this conversation now. And I've got some that are so hungry, and so they are just starving to hear something that they're looking for. They don't know what they're looking for. They're looking for something. This is what Noah was doing. All these people out there for 150 years, he was out there preaching, trying to tell them about something that they didn't know about. They didn't understand. They wanted something, but they didn't know what it was. They didn't want to receive it because nobody else, he'd not received it. I'm not going to do it either. And that's what's sad. Mm-hmm.
Looking back, people don't know what they don't know.
You're right.
And there's a lot of people that are great people.
Mm-hmm.
And we look to people for answers.
Right.
Instead of the Word of God.
That's right.
And I feel that there's so much confusion in that because I did live
Mm-hmm.
in confusion.
Oh, yeah.
But I also had to have an open heart and an open mind.
That's right.
And it wasn't people that persuaded me to believe a different way. It's when I got into the Word of God.
Exactly.
It cleared up so much confusion.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why people are walking around in such
Oh, yeah.
confusion. They're lost.
Yeah.
They want to seek help, but they don't find the source.
Exactly.
The source is God, and how you find God, you got to get into His Word to hear His voice.
You're exactly right. I share Bible verses every day. And my Bible verse this morning actually kind of spoke what you just spoke. it says, I wait patiently and expectantly for the Lord. And he inclined to me and heard me cry. He brought me out of the horrible pit of turmoil and destruction, or the word tumult, the word of tumult and destruction. The word tumult means to be in a state of confusion, to be in like a giant big crowded room and everybody's talking at one time. You're trying to hear what's going on all around you, but you can't understand what everybody else is saying. That's what people that don't know God are in. So many people are talking about so many different things. They got so many things in the world. All this social media is doing the same thing. They got everybody so focused on all the social media. See, I don't have social media. You have to excuse me. I don't have it. Because if I feel like I need to be doing something, I'm usually in the Bible, trying to get what the Lord has for me to have. And it says, he brought me out of this horrible pit of tumult and destruction, out of my miry clay. As we walk through this world, it's like being in miry clay. It's just, you're just trudging. Everybody's just trudging from day to day. Oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. Oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. With today's money, I got 5 more days. And I hear this every day. Oh, it's going to be a long week. Every day is like a miry clay. And he sets my feet upon a rock, steadying my footsteps and establishing my path. That was the verse for today. When we are walking in God's path, as Noah did, again, you stop and think, 150 years before, or 120 years at least before he finished that boat, he had to start with something, and he had nothing. I'm sure he had some form of a ancient axe, and I'm sure he may have talked his sons into helping him. We don't know. At that time, the kids could have been anywhere from, we didn't have it until he was 500 years old. They could have been anywhere from 90 to 20 years old. Who knows how old his kids were. And we don't know if anybody else helped him, because the Bible doesn't state that he actually hired anybody or he didn't hire anybody. We don't know how many people were making fun of him, which is probably about the whole town. But he continued to trudge on in faith. Falling trees, creating timber out of them, taking that timber and applying it to this massive structure, going to wherever, it doesn't say where he went and got pitch. You know, pitch is tar. Back then, you were talking about probably taking an ox and a cart that you constructed and going to an area and taking some type of fork, some type of object, and taking pitch and putting it into this cart. Taking this cart and leading it taking your ox back to where you're putting it on here and applying this pitch on the side of this boat, outside and inside. We're talking about a long, treacherous journey, because the pitch pit may be 5 miles away. It could have been 100 miles away. We don't have any idea. I looked at the magnitude, not only of the flood, but of the job that God gave him to do, because it truly was a magnitude. I mean, you think the ark that's up there, I don't know if any of y'all have visited, it's a great thing. The ark up there, it took them 10 years, is that right? Or 15 years to build? That was with a whole crew of people that were skilled laborers with all the tools. That was a feat in itself. Can you imagine having just some kind of stone axe and a stone hammer, and having to make your own, figuring out how to cut timber so they have angles, and cut timber so they have steps, so that when you put them together, they lock in together, and how you're going to bore holes in there? I mean, again, I look at the magnitude of what the project was, because that was a great feat, a great feat. Walking this earth is one thing, but doing the jobs that God has sometimes seem like a very great feat to us. But he never gives us more than we can handle. because Noah handled it. We can handle a lot of things we don't think we can do. God is always good. He's always patient with us. He has to get on me sometimes when I'm not being as fast as he wants me to be. But he is always patient. All right, this is it for the day. It's about time for us to go. Y'all have a great day. And let's have a great service.